Welcome to our hotel, sir.
I am so stoked to be here. I got such an amazing deal by booking my room on a popular OTA and not direct. Take that, hotel guy.
In that case, we have a special room for you.
Sweet!
Yes, it's located in the sub-basement 2 level, in between the furnace and our ice-making room, and a place where cats go to die. Enjoy the smell!
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the No Vacancy podcast. This is your host, Glenn Hausman, and I, once again, am delighted to have you here. And let me tell you something. I am stoked because I haven't had him with us in a long time. Who is it going to be? Well, you already know because you probably read the show notes. Dave Eisen, editor-in-chief of Hotel Management Magazine, where I also coincidentally serve as their editor-at-large. So I'm excited Dave is here, although right now he's hiding from the microphone here. Take it. You can speak. It's all right.
Hold it, okay.
Yeah, well, it looks cooler that way for us
like
here alone. Yeah, exactly. You know, the next time we do this in person, and usually Dave and I do these on the phone, so it's fun to be face-to-face, more so for me than you. You got to look at me, but it's nice to...
I'm digging the beard. You actually shaved it down since I last saw you.
This morning, if you guys checked my video from last week with Bruce Ford, ripping on a hotel bathroom, you can check that out on my YouTube channel, so the Glenn Hausman YouTube channel. Check that out. You can see me in full beard. I trimmed it back a little, but I think I did a little too much trimming there.
No, I think you're good. You went from like Cro-Magnon man now to kind of, 5 o'clock shadow-ish.
Plus.
Maybe 3 o'clock shadow-ish.
Yeah, I don't know, 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock. It goes
shadow.
forward, yeah.
I don't know. I'm worried. My wife said that she liked the look, and now I've messed it all up. I don't know if I'm going to be allowed in the house tonight.
You better grow it back then. Get fast in a hurry.
Better get on it. But I've also been growing out my hair, and I don't know what to do with it because now it's just a giant.
You need some
floppy
product.
mess. Yeah, well, I used to use product before I went super long. Now it just doesn't seem to be containing it anymore. So I think I've got a date with Destiny, or as I like to call Destiny, Supercuts, coming up very soon, and we'll be doing it. But Dave, I wanted to have you on the show because not only are you such a great guest host when you're on, but
thank you, sir.
We were out in Los Angeles together last week for Alice, and of course, on last week's show, you could check it out. We talked about the Alice event in somewhat detail, but I want to get Dave's perspective because, David, you see things a little bit different than me. You are a lot more entrenched in the event itself, and what'd you think of the vibe over there? I thought it was a little...
The vibe was iffy, I would say. I think you're right with that. I think every year we go into these conferences, there's always kind of this definitive mood, whether it's total
jubilation.
Yeah, total jubilation or totally in the dumps. This one was like, I don't think anyone knows what's going on anymore because we're at this time, and we're at this time in the cycle where travel is still going at a good speed, a good ticking along. I think when we talk about real estate, the real estate cycle, we're at the peak of that, right? But the travel cycle, people are still traveling. But from being and you and I covering this industry for so long, we look at supply demand, and this is going to be the first year 17 where supply actually outstrips demand.
Right. Okay. Here comes my disclaimer. That is the entire United States, not necessarily a specific market, but we can't get away from talking about the generalities.
Right. And if we're looking at, and I just thought some numbers here, looking at some CBRE data, they're looking at supply to tick up 1.8% year over year this year, and you have demand at 1.5%. So you do the math.
Yeah. So
this is the first year in a long time when this has happened, and when this happens, people get a little, investors, operators, they get a little, what's the word? They get a little
nervous.
Nervous.
Itchy?
Yes. These are all good adjectives. Yes, keep
Thank
going.
Thank you. You would think I had a thesaurus with me, but this is why I get
Mr.
paid
Roger. Is it
Roger's
thesaurus? Roget?
I don't know. I never knew how to pronounce that one.
I think it's
which
I'm going to go with Roger.
Yeah, I like.
Anyway,
that.
yes.
Also, one of my favorite candies, the little treat with the hazelnut wrapped in. That's a Rocher, but close.
Oh yeah, they sell those at like Dwayne Reed and CVS. Yeah, you have a high.
It's like a party in your mouth.
Quite a palate for chocolate. Anyway, yeah. So I think the people they get a little scared off by that, and sometimes these numbers matter as they say. But like you said before, I think also the fact that we were in rainy and cold LA doesn't always help matters too. There's less people kind of congregating outside. Right. The weather wasn't the best. And I think
let's talk about that for the rest of the show, because the fact that we were in LA and it was raining was really just obnoxious.
Obnoxious. I was actually angry when I flew into LAX and I'm walking out and it's raining and cold. I think it was warmer probably back here in New York. And you know what? We should talk about our hard hat tour.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Well, we had this great opportunity, and this is the kind of stuff that a hotelier, wonky guy such as myself absolutely loves.
Yeah.
Is to see hotels under construction, and we
Right.
got to see 2 properties. One of which is the InterContinental Los Angeles. It's going to be a very premier flagship property for those guys. Tallest building west of the Mississippi, about 900 rooms. And taking a little cue from Asia, you check in on the 70th floor, and there's a great bar up on the roof.
Yes, it was monumental, gargantuan. I mean, this thing was quite an edifice.
Yeah, it's so big. You keep thinking that
monolithic.
There's going to be lots of other stuff
Yeah.
going on in that building as well.
Right. It's just, but it was interesting. This is actually, I've only done a couple of hard hat tours, and it's cool because you get the whole kit, the whole package,
Yep.
the hat, the reflective jacket. It's also kind of scary when you're up on the 78th, 80th floor in a with wind gusts coming through. Obviously the shell isn't complete, so you're kind of standing there. There's rain coming in, so it's a bunch of rebar and wires, concrete here and there. But it's always really cool to be inside something that still is. There's still time for it to be built out. Do you know when the
It's
actual
supposed to be
opening is?
opening in June.
Okay.
Is my belief. If I'm wrong, IHGPR team, please don't flame me too
Or-
much.
or
I'm pretty
I.
sure I'm right.
Yes.
But what's amazing, and we saw another one, Hotel Indigo, set to open at the end of next month, March.
Right.
How far away from the opening date it feels like it is. I mean, you and me, we're not in the construction business, but it's amazing how these things seem to come together at the last minute. And the whole time I'm there, I'm like, they're never going to make it. Never going to make it.
You stand in one of these places, you're like, there's no way they're going to get this thing open in the time frame that they set themselves. But as you know, they usually do. They work their magic, but and it was cool to see the juxtaposition between the Indigo and the Intercon. I mean, the Indigo obviously is a smaller footprint, smaller building.
I think it's going to be the largest Indigo in the country,
Still,
about 350
and that's
rooms.
but compared to what we at the Intercon,
that
it was
was
like
just
head and
massive.
shoulder- exactly, yeah, massive. So the whole experience was very cool. I didn't trip, nothing fell on me. We did sign our life, so I think we signed liability forms. Or
We
something
did.
to
We
that?
definitely signed away
indemnifying
waivers.
Waivers, so we won't be suing IHG anytime soon. No one has to worry there.
No, but I am thinking about suing the city of LA for that rainstorm. That's really obnoxious of
Yeah,
them.
good luck
Again,
with that. We'll see where we go with that.
But I got to just say about this construction project, how cool it is to see all of these things taking shape. Fortunately, we get to go to some really great hotels around the country. We get to talk to a lot of great owners, but we don't often get to see what it's like in the middle of that process. And for me, getting to see them building the actual product and seeing like, whoa, this is going to be a 22,000 square foot ballroom,
Right.
and they're just hanging chandeliers today. It's such a cool thing to see.
Yeah, you have to definitely use your imagination though a little bit when you walk in these places because it's hard. You have the GM telling you this is going to be there, and this
Right.
you gotta have to use your imagination because these things. It's like I said before. It's I left with hypothermia, but that's part of the game, right? That's why we do what we do. We're gamers. So
That's right. I'm actually in it for the hypothermia. Forget
Exactly.
the hotel industry
Yes.
stuff. But I'm looking forward to next January getting to go up to that rooftop bar and having a drink up there, and
Yeah.
you're going to be able to see amazing.
Oh, we could see.
views.
Remember, we could already see that it was a cloudy day, but you could see the hills. I mean, the views were outstanding. I mean, top notch. So, yes, I'm looking forward to a nice view, and an old fashioned in hand would be nice.
I like
Preferably
that.
paid for by someone else. You know?
Well, that's typically.
I never buy my own drinks, Glenn. You know that.
Yeah, I don't like buying my own drinks either. I really
Right.
prefer it when other people buy
I do
my
too,
drinks.
yes.
If you'd like to buy David and I a drink, drop me a line, glenn@rouse.media. And Dave, what's your email address?
My email address is deisen@questex.com. That's a QUESTEX. You know what? It's better to reach me on Twitter. That's where I like to. That's where I like to talk to all my people. David Eisen, number 3. Yes, David Eisen 3. Hit me up there.
Yes, and we'll come out. We're glad to meet you for drinks. And you know what? In exchange for some old fashions or Manhattans or any other classic cocktail you can think of, we will share our deep knowledge of the hotel industry. Unfortunately, probably not enough to get me through that first drink by the time I'm done already sharing everything I know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So Hotel Indigo, that's going to be a really nice project too. It's the phase 1 of a multi-phase project. It looks absolutely spectacular. They're going to be having some great meeting space in there, things we haven't really seen before. All right. So we got to travel all the way to L.A.
Yeah.
We get to travel all the time.
Right.
But we're starting to see some problems in terms of travel coming to the United States. And I'm wondering, David, is this something that is going to be an anomaly? Is this the start of something new? Back in November, right after the presidential election here, I posted on YouTube and some other places. Again, check out the Glenn Hausman page on YouTube. 4 questions we must ask about a Trump administration. And one of my questions in that is, what is going to happen? There's a lot of anti-American sentiment overseas, and tourism is an amazing export for our country. When the deal is, when people come to this country, it's considered an export because foreigners are spending money in America and putting money in Americans' pockets. So, are people going to continue to come to the United States if they feel a country that's already been difficult to get into, already has a perception of being unfriendly? Are they going to still continue to come here, or are they just going to go to other places? Right. You've been thinking about this issue. Where are we at now?
I think everyone's been thinking about this issue.
Yeah, but you wrote about it in the pages of Hotel Management, which you could find.
Hotelmanagement.net is our website.
And I will put the link to this artitle in the show notes as well.
Oh, I appreciate that, Glenn. I can use all the exposure I can get. It's interesting. First of all, Donald Trump, you can be either pro-Trump, against Trump. The man definitely.
There's no in between on him.
There is. I said that, but he's a man true to his word. He told people he was going to do this. This was in his plan. Okay, and he's following through on his promises that were on the campaign. Right.
Right. So the news specifically that we're talking about is the travel ban that happened last week. 7 countries, a total hold on folks coming to this country. Create a little bit of chaos at places like JFK last week.
Can you name all 7 countries, Glenn?
Without
looking?
I could name 7 countries.
So
I could start by naming the countries that Donald Trump has hotels in that aren't covered on the ban.
Yeah, I like how you slid that in there. Yes, you don't see Saudi Arabia or any.
No, but you see
Iran,
Syria, Yemen.
2. That's 2. Go ahead.
You said Iran. That's kind of
3.
Libya.
4.
I'm not sure.
There's another I.
There's another Iraq.
5.
And
I think you're missing
not
the 2
Canada.
S's. Somalia and Sudan.
All right, Somalia and Sudan.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
You did pretty well there.
Thanks.
Here's what I think. All the his surrogates go out there and they talk about it. Well, it's not a Muslim ban. It's just a ban from these countries to keep everyone safe from whatever harm. Even though there's statistics I show you, the amount of people who have been killed by Americans killed by terrorists from these countries, I think it is 0.
Yeah,
it's something like that. My worry is that there's this kind of halo effect, as I called it. When you start seeing policies like this that are anti other countries, whatever, backtrack. Obviously, we want to keep this country safe. That is paramount. I think, but I think doing it this way doesn't serve us right. I think like I said, it creates this halo effect that people will say, maybe I'm going to take a second look at coming over to the United States. I don't know whether this will happen, but I think there's definitely something to that where people will second guess.
My thought is, if I am thinking of a vacation and I am not a fan of the current administration in general, I'm most likely going to go somewhere else, unless my wife or kids say I have to see the Statue of Liberty or whatever it is. I'm just feeling that we're working ourselves into a situation where people are not going to feel welcome as they have in the last 8 years or
Yeah.
so. And I don't mean 8 years under the Obama
Right.
administration. I'm not trying to be partisan here.
Right.
I'm trying to peg it to when the U.S. Travel Association really started to get their gusto together, where they started to actively create advertising campaigns for the first time ever to attract foreigners to come
Yep.
to the United States.
Well-
and I'm worried that all that hard work
Yeah.
is going to go to shame.
Well, it's interesting with the U.S. Travel Association. They do a lot of good. I thought that their statement that they came out was very ambivalent, tame. It didn't take a real position. They've yet to come out really to take a position on Trump's on the
tough
travel
thing
ban.
to do, taking
I
a
know
position.
it's D.C. You have to be.
you have to kind of appease everybody and no
Right.
one at the same time.
But like I said before, a travel ban like this, yes, it's all about in their mind keeping everyone safe. But again, something like this also hurts our travel industry. People don't come over here. Jobs could be affected. And I compared it a little bit to, if you remember, with President Barack Obama when he came out railing against the insurance companies for spending lavishly in Vegas.
don't go spending your money
Yeah,
in Las
exactly.
Vegas.
Well, you know what? People whose jobs depend on tourism to Las Vegas, they're the ones who end up getting screwed off that.
Las Vegas
he
got
came back,
crushed.
but he actually came back and did a mea culpa and said, I wasn't. He basically said, I apologize for that comment. It wasn't trying to, affect travel there or whatever it is. But
it's
I think
amazing the effect that a president's words can have.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
that's what's scary because, as you know, Donald Trump has no filter and he loves to just say whatever's on his mind. You saw it. I mean, stock prices are lifted or hammered on his whimsical
Yep.
Twitter rants. So
David, what's going on here? Any other thoughts, perceptions, ideas on what's
Yeah.
going to happen next?
no, I think on the short term, I think their hotels are there's already been a short term effect on the hotel industry. There was already a statement that came out from Baird, which is they do research notes, and they were talking about how foreigners could become incrementally reluctant to travel to the United States. That's what we're getting at here.
Yeah.
It has that halo effect that these 7 countries fine, but there's this halo effect that people might second guess their vacation to the United States. That's not bad. That's bad for the travel industry. I don't know really what the end game is here. I mean, what the travel ban was for 90 days, and I think it was 100 days for other refugee sets, but I short of him changing, I mean, they've already had to recalculate it with the green card issue, and they had to retweak that. So
This week, even though there was a ban completely, 872 people still got in other channels. I don't know exactly how that worked. I just know that that's what happened.
Yeah, I don't think. Listen, this is just Trump. He can be. He's verbose. He does things like this.
Yeah, he's flexing his muscles.
He's flexing his muscle. He's showing
his position of power.
Yes, and he's doing what he said he would do. The end game here, I don't know. I think time will tell.
Right.
I don't think he's going to backtrack off of it.
Yeah, I can't imagine he will, because in the 18 months he spent on the campaign trail, it was a common theme of him keeping us safe. You could think whatever you want politically, but the guy said he was going to do something, and he actually went ahead and do it. So we may not agree with the methodology. We just want to try to evaluate what the after effects are going to be for our little sector of the universe. And it's funny to me how, for somebody that owns hotels in the United States, that appeals to these types of travelers that might be coming from these areas because they're wealthy and staying in his hotel, that he's not putting his business ahead of the country, which I
hope he's not putting.
Good.
That's a good thing. I think.
Yeah.
I hope he's not putting his business ahead of the country.
Yeah.
Maybe if he starts seeing his Chicago property, if the RevPAR dip on there, he'll rethink his travel ban.
Yeah.
That whole thing is interesting. But you're right. It seems like the travel ban didn't affect countries where he had business. Business interests in. It's all It's listen. We're in a totally new. It's such a 180 from where the Obama administration is. It's going to take time for people to get used to this man in office. I don't. There's many people out there who never get used to it. My mother being one. He creates a lot of discord. That's for sure. Yeah. And you're either love him or you hate him, and there's no gray area.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we're going to keep following this story as it continues to develop. And I'd be curious to all of you folks out there listening, what do you think is going to happen? I don't want to hear Trump is amazing, he's saving us. I don't want to hear he's the most horrible human being ever that existed. after Hitler or with Hitler. All I want to hear is what you think is going to happen with tourism to the United States. Are people going to be for it? Are people going to be against it? Is it going to hurt the pocketbooks of the major brands, the major hotel owners, and all the restaurants and servers and Broadway shows and all of the other things that depends on international travel?
We didn't even talk about the wall and what's going on there. Maybe that wall. The one thing I can think of the good coming out of the wall is that we construct that we're gonna need to construct some hotels down by the border to stay for everyone to stay and all the workers to stay in.
I like that idea.
There you go. There's one good impact. For
Maybe we could do a Pink Floyd wall themed hotel at the wall.
That would be cool. Some kind of triple brand or dual brand, something like that too. Maybe
let's make the first quintuple branded hotel.
Could do that. Yes,
all right,
exactly.
All right, so that's what David and I are going to do. Yeah. Question is, what are you guys going to do? David, any final thoughts? I think I'm getting a little tired after talking about all of this travel talk.
It takes a lot out of you. Let's just hope by this time next year the weather in LA is better, so we can have a happier Alice conference.
I sure hope so, and I'm really looking forward to it. All right, now when we come back after this commercial break, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to do my own 180 degrees, and we're going to be talking to the CEO of Exhale, Ann Beth Eschbach. Now, I love her because she's reinventing the whole idea of spas and stuff like that. It's all about wellness. It's all about taking care of yourself in all parts of your lives. We really get into it. You're going to learn why it's different than just going to the gym or just going to the spa. So stick around after this, and we'll be right back. But first, I got to let David plug himself one more time. David?
Oh, I'll plug myself. So you can reach David Eisen. Please reach out to me on Twitter at David Eisen, the number 3. That's David Eisen 3. And check out our website, hotelmanagement.net, where you can find all the latest news and insight on the hospitality industry.
And let me give another shout out to Hotel Management. I'm going to be starting a new Hotel ROI series with these guys.
Shout that out too. We can just do shout outs to the rest of the show.
Yeah, I think so. So you'll be checking that out starting in this month, or maybe we'll have a little bit of lag in the print, but it'll be online. I don't know how any of that works. It's not my job to figure that out. I'm just confused. I just write some words and they magically appear somewhere. That's all I know. But guys, thanks for listening. Stick around after this break. Ann Beth Eschbach, you're going to love it. She is so freaking awesome. Stay tuned.
Have a question for your host, Glenn? Tweet him now at Traveling Glenn. No vacancy. The hospitality industry's #1 podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff from Endpoint Multimedia. You've heard me on the show give off lists of great travel tips and spots. Well, now I'm going to give you my super secret beach vacation spot. Villas Hermosas is just steps from the beautiful beach of Playa Hermosa in Costa Rica, which is close to Santa Teresa and Malpais. I've personally been going to Villas Hermosas for 7 years now, and the owners Brad and Tara treat their guests like friends, and no matter what your interests are, they'll lead you in the right direction. The reason I love this particular part of the country is that the southern Nicoya Peninsula is more untouched and raw than some of the more well-known tourist destinations of Costa Rica. But don't let that ruggedness fool you. You can be pampered as much as you'd like at Villas Hermosas, and the restaurants in town are simply amazing. So whether you're looking for true solitude, an adventure vacation with zip lining and quad tours, or a great surfing destination with super consistent waves, Villas Hermosas is my personal recommendation. Check them out, villashermosas.com, and let them know you heard about them from us. Enjoy the rest of the show.
It's totally fine.
Great. You know, one of the things that I find is I'm not finding enough zen in my life. I'm not relaxing enough in my life. And quite frankly, I have a hard time sticking to a great exercise workout routine. I try desperately to get into this habit of swimming, but a lot of times I feel like I'm drowning in my inability to actually keep up with a strong exercise regimen. But, you know, some people are very focused on it and do a great job with it. And that's why I got Ann Beth Eschbach with me today. She runs the great brand Exhale, which you're focused on spa, fitness, and well-being and all that kind of great stuff. And Beth, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking with me today.
You're welcome.
Okay, so here's the deal, Ann Beth. You know, one of the things that I find it so frustrating is to really have a regimen in my life and make it work. But I think I'm getting it all wrong. My brain is still stuck in that traditional, you got to go to the gym thing. Then maybe every once in a while you want to go to a spa and get pampered for a little bit. But you're really focused on this whole well-being paradigm. And I'd say you're one of the people that actually helped create a sense of this idea of well-being that's more holistic as a part of your life, as opposed to something that you either have to work hard for or as a special treat, right?
Beautifully said. I think we, in many ways, Exhale was the first to really, prior to Exhale, I worked for a very large company that operated large athletic clubs. We operated spas. And it became very, very clear that what people wanted from the spa and the fitness industry really didn't exist. The gym world was all about metal and steel and
which
equipment.
never appealed to me, because I always felt like that proverbial 97-pound weakling from comic books in the 60s where I was getting sand kicked on me, right? So I always felt like I couldn't go up head to head. So that was a big problem.
Yeah. And the spa world back in 2000 was very oriented towards beauty and pampering, and you had a lot of day spas that were focused on beauty and pampering. And what we saw is a huge void in the market, and a real opportunity was to create an experience that would integrate both spa, healing, boutique fitness under one roof, so that people could actually make transformation happen on a daily basis. You didn't have to go away to a destination spa in order to really, really take care of yourself. So we created Exhale, we trademarked the name, and back then when we founded the business, we were using words like mind, body, we were using words like lifestyle,
Right.
we were using words like transformation, and people were kind of going cross-eyed and saying, this is really hard to understand. And today, those words are, really commonplace. But it's true. We fully intended to be a lifestyle brand from the very beginning. We want people like you to come in to any one of our 28 properties, whether we're in a hotel or freestanding, and we want you to come in every day or every other day and make this a real part of your life, not a special treat, as you said. So one day you may come in and take a chill class, and the next day you may come in and do a bar class, and the next day you may come in and do a HIIT class, and then another day you'll do some really serious acupuncture or, massage. And I think that's the key, is that our body needs all kinds of experiences in order to transform and change. You will not change your body, Glenn, if every single day you get up and you jump on a treadmill and you run 5 miles and you drink your glass of Chardonnay and eat your white bagel, because your body's going to memorize that and you're going to be the same person.
Right. Yeah.
But if you do different things every day and shake it up and take care of yourself, both yin and yang, you're going to be a better person, a happier person, and definitely more mindful and more transformed.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be a better person. That's something for me to work out on on my own at some point. But I will definitely be more mindful and probably healthier mentally and physically as well. But what I think is interesting is that you're both in hotels with such great brands as Gansevoort and Lowe's and Ritz and Fairmont and Kimpton, and all of these are forward-thinking brands that really understand the paradigm here, that we need to get out of just having a pampering spa and better connect with the way that people are aspiring to live every day in their lives. And that's why I wanted to talk to you today, because of this whole new well-being paradigm that we're seeing. Recently on an interview, I spoke to the CEO of Americas with InterContinental Hotels Resorts Group, and we talked about a brand that they have even that's very focused on wellness. But you came ahead and you pretty much created this whole category way before anybody else did. We kind of touched on that at the beginning of this conversation that we were having. So what is it that's really the difference? Now, you mentioned something like chill classes and all of these other things, but what is a chill class? That sounds like something that I could use, especially since everyone tells me I'm so high strung and I got to chill all the time.
Let me address the first part of your question. I think the hotel space or the hospitality industry, we don't run hotels. That's not what we do. We are a brand and operator, and we are dedicated to activating our hospitality partners
in
and
much the
engaging
same
the local community and bringing them in. And you do that if you have a freestanding brand and you are additive to your hotel partners, if you are able to positively influence the economics of the project. And we are, because we're able to bring in the local community and drive incremental business. Right. And we do that not because we have a spa.
Right. And it sounds to me it's the same kind of idea as having a third-party operator for your hotel restaurant. The hotelier is great at being a hotelier. They're not necessarily great at understanding the latest food and beverage trends and how to translate that into a language that the local customer would appreciate and understand over time. And that's what you're doing. Instead of just having a hotel gym or spa that locals don't feel like they need to come to, you're creating a facility that integrates into people's day-to-day lives, and it simultaneously inculcates the hotel into the community they're in, right?
Correct. And so now to directly answer your question, why does this work? It works because we've got a program. We've got a whole series of programs that are tried and true that are considered sort of the hottest fitness class offerings today, these boutique fitness classes that everybody is talking about them. So we've got bar, we've got yoga, we've got HIIT classes, we've got cardio classes, we've got the chill class that's got your name all over it. And all of these classes are offered all across the country. They're offered in resorts, they're offered in freestanding exhales, they're offered in urban hotels. And in every one of these things, you know what you're going to get because it's an Exhale branded class. And they're 1-hour classes that pull people together. They, great music, create community, sense of accountability. And oh, by the way, they're very, very, very results oriented. So people are able to come in and get their fix, get their great Exhale class, whether they're staying at the property or whether they're living locally. So it is something that works for both Exhale and for the local community and for the hotel partner. And the gyms are just kind of an add-on.
Right.
This is the boutique fitness class offering is what is so coveted and so sought after right now. It's actually the fastest growing segment in the fitness industry today. So the fact that we're able to bring that is a big deal. And then I think delivering a spa experience that's everybody is talking about it and everybody says we need to, all of the spa brands want to be wellness oriented, but we have been focused on healing and well-being from day one, and we've always been very social with our brand. We've also been very healing focused, so we're able to do all kinds of activities that were, pepper throughout our properties, indoors, outdoors, in-room, rooftop, whether it's a Well-Being Wednesdays, that attracts 300 people to the rooftop at the Lowe's Hotel every Wednesday night. Wow. And follow that, everybody runs downstairs to the hotel bar and has cocktails. The point is people want to move together, drink together. There's this huge shift happening right now towards making social activities healthier. There's an enormous shift that has been going on for at least 4 years where hotels and retail are working really, really hard to energize and activate real estate.
That's really interesting to me, Annbeth. I don't mean to cut you off because you really hit upon a point here that I think I want to share a little bit more. Like the idea of doing things that don't involve a bar. I mean, we're so used to that's our main mechanism for being social in this country, in this world, in a lot of ways. And I know I have a deep yearning to try to want to meet people outside the bar. I've got a couple of friends that don't drink, and honestly, it's a little weird or awkward for them to make plans with them because I don't necessarily know what to do with them other than just go to a restaurant. So when you're talking about taking that and creating a set of activities that are mindful and healthy for somebody, to me, that sounds like a really interesting way in order to help people build relationships in their personal lives and not just make them feel better, but help them connect better with others.
Yeah, thanks. That's well said. And I think people enjoy coming into environments that have communal spaces. So you saw in the hotel industry when the boutique hotels started really creating communal spaces and people wanted to all be together. Now people are catching on to what we've been really excited about from the beginning, which is we want our guests to be together. We don't want them locked away in a room where they shower and change and get their therapy and then they leave. We want people to interact with other people. We like communal spaces, whether it's the yoga studio, whether it's the bar studio, whether it's using the outdoors, taking people, to do outdoor activities altogether, whether it is hammams, where our guests.
Could you explain to the
put-
readers what a hammam is? I happen to know from old world in PR, and one time I got pampered in a hammam pool. But why don't you share a little bit about that?
So we have dry Zen lounges in all of our properties. And that's a place where you go and you wait for your therapist, to pick you up and bring you back pre and post therapy. And there's obviously healing tea in there, and that's your little unwind. Separate from that, in a couple of our properties, we have hammams, and I feel, I'm a huge believer in the hammam because it's a large space where guests go pre and post yoga, pre and post therapy, and you go in your yoga clothes, or you can go in your robe or your bathing suit, and it's a big slab of stone heated by coils that have hot water running through it, and you're able to lie down and detox for long periods of time because it's not as hot as a sauna.
And they come out of they come out of Turkey, correct?
Yes, correct. But, this is really the modern day hammam, and it's social. You can talk very quietly in there. The lights are low, but you can be in there for a long time pre and post, and you can really unwind, and it's very cool. And it's social and communal and plays to that trend. So every chance that we get, we like to make our experiences social and communal. And people need it. People need a chance to, regroup.
Right. I know my hammam loves talking, so that would be perfect for her to be in a hammam. Sorry. Bad mom conversation humor there. But okay, so you go how did you come up with this concept, and where did it start? Because you were working for somebody else. You saw that you needed to innovate, you needed to change, you needed to bring a new paradigm to what was going on in that spa and exercise kind of universe, and you kind of fused all those together to create something that the industry didn't even realize it needed. But then suddenly came to the conclusion that, oh, my God, this is what people really wanted.
Yeah, it came because I worked with a team of really talented people, and we had 65 different properties that all had different names and different sizes, and some were spas and then hotels, and some were huge gyms, and some were corporate fitness centers, and on and on and on. And, we were sort of takeover artists, and we were always handed things that needed to be turned around and fixed. And after, 10, 15 years of fixing things, you learn a lot, and you learn a lot about different markets, but you learn so much about what doesn't work. And, it was an opportunity to sort of learn every metric and everything that screws up every metric. Right. And I finally said, hey, I went to business school. Maybe I should put a business plan together and a financial model. And I put together what I really thought the world needed. And it's interesting because I am nothing. I am not a hairdresser. I am not a teacher. I am not a masseuse, a technician. I'm nothing but somebody who is so excited about figuring out where market demand is. And after studying all of this and working in the industry for so long, it was really exciting to put together a concept and programs and pull a team together that was completely 100% focused on doing the right thing and meeting market demand. It had nothing to do with, well, because I cut hair, I'm going to do a hair spa, or because I'm, an esthetician, I'm going to do a facial spa, or because I'm this guy. This is not what it's about. This is all about what does the world need. And what's great is if you start the business like that, by the way, everything changes all of the time. So, we're constantly innovating, adding new therapies. We're constantly rethinking real estate. Does it need to be smaller, bigger, more communal spaces? We're constantly pulling the onion back and looking at everything that needs to twist, shift, and move, but staying true, obviously, to the brand promise and who we are and what we're all about. That's remained constant. But what's shifted over time is we've been able to add more classes. We recently added the HIT class.
What is a HIT class?
High intensity interval training. This is very appealing to men. The hotels love this, and it's
yeah, sure, very appealing to me.
I need to get you in.
I like low intensity kind of things, but you're right. I do need to come in and shake it up a little bit. Because I could do something else but swimming. That's my goal for 2017.
Okay, well, we'll get you in. We're gonna transform you.
All right, woo. All right, good. Good. My wife will appreciate that. She's like, why can't you just be somebody else? So it'll be perfect.
But I think that it's very freeing to not have some legacy that I'm mired to. It's very freeing to be able to focus on what people want, what people need, and not we're not stuck ever. We're able to continue to evolve. And what's beautiful is here we are in a world today where health and well-being trumps all else. And that's sort of the biggest trend that's going on right now. And it's really nice to have the wind at our back with respect to.
When do you think that started to change? Because, as we discussed, when you first started, I'm sure there was a considerable amount of people that just discounted you or thought you were crazy. But now, within, I don't know when, you'll tell me, all of a sudden it seems like this is the way to do things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's been the last 4 years. Right in the middle of the recession, 2008, 2009 is when the whole world shifted.
Yes.
And that's when we realized that, and we had only opened freestanding locations up until then. And all of a sudden there were, hotel and developers that started recruiting us. And that's sort of when I saw the first shift. And then it was, 3 or 4 years ago when I stopped hearing the word luxury. And from the very beginning, this has never been a luxury play. It has always been a lifestyle play. But it was hard for so many developers and hotel operators. They were so stuck in that it has to be luxury. It has to be luxury for it to be a spa.
Right.
And so we're now free of that. We're now sitting in a place where everybody wants to be in the well-being space. Everybody wants to be wellness-oriented. By the way, I think differently of the word wellness than well-being. I think well-being is a more social. Yeah, I know. And by the way, there's no right or wrong to this, even if you look up the
Right.
I've always looked at wellness as a little bit more of a medical term, and well-being is more about happiness and
I agree.
And helping people just be better.
That's a great way to put it, and I think you're right.
Yeah. Good. I like to be right. Nobody else ever tells me I'm right.
So, all right. So, well-being then. When did Hotelier start to catch on more recently, I guess, about this? Because when we first started to get to know each other, you did seem like you were mostly in those luxury type of properties, even though you're bringing a lifestyle component to it. Now it seems that it's a lot more accepted as just the state of being for hoteliers. And I really think that you're right about that 2007, 2008 thing. That's when society started to shift away from vast materialism to more mindfulness, more wanting to connect better on an emotional level with people through their travel experiences. And I think ways that we're seeing that expressed is, wanting to have that sense of authenticity now. And you're kind of playing into that from the body perspective and mind perspective.
Well, it's funny. Mindfulness. Everybody is saying that we are in a mindfulness revolution, and people are running around and trying to figure out how to put more mindfulness into their lives. And from the very beginning, we've always said, beginning meaning 13, 14 years ago, we've always said, listen, this is not something you need to work hard to do. Come to us. We slip it in. We'll slip in a 2-minute guided meditation. We call it Shavasana.
Right.
At the end of every single boutique fitness class, we slip in breathing. You don't even know it. We're helping people learn how to be mindful by taking these classes, getting a facial, getting a massage, getting acupuncture. It's sort of built into the way we deliver all of our programs. They're sacred elements.
Right.
Each one of these classes and therapies include moments of mindfulness and include a lot of transformation. So it's, we've always been doing this, and, we want to continue to do it. We're not charging people $30, $40 to come and take a class in mindfulness. it's part of what we do.
That's cool.
And again, that's kind of a lifestyle thing. But we've always believed in helping people be more mindful. It's just been a big part of the brand from the beginning. So yeah, we're excited, and we're excited about the future.
So give me a tip or two on how to be more mindful in your day-to-day life.
So tip number one is to be proud of yourself when you stop and you don't do anything and you're thinking and you're smiling, and when you take a breath. Have you ever just walked through an airport, which is the most miserable place to be, right?
Yes.
All of us travel all the time. And make a decision that you're going to go from line to line through security and all the way to your gate, and you're going to keep a smile on your face the entire time. And just try it for fun. And I want you to know what's going to happen is you are going to have the most fun you've ever had. All of a sudden, you're not going to be angry. People are going to be smiling back at you.
Yep.
You're going to feel like the most beautiful man that ever walked through O'Hare. I'm not kidding you. It's hysterical, and that's my point. If you do something like that, you start to realize how powerful your own inner emotions and state of mind are, and how much you can affect other people. Another little trick is you'll be in the middle of a meeting with your team, and it's very heated, and there's some kind of controversy, and somebody's raising their voice, and they're going at you because everybody's emotional and upset about something. And all you need to do is lower your voice and lower your volume and say, I hear you.
Right.
And that's all you say.
How do you know? How do you get yourself to do that?
Change.
Because one of the things I'm accused at most here at the, Houseman Beach Club, Pool House, and Smokehouse. That's what. that's where I live. Pool Club and Smokehouse, I should say. Okay. I get very passionate about things, and I get accused of, by certain folks in this house, of maybe yelling. When I'm not yelling, I'm just passionate, right? So how can I catch myself to take that moment?
Passion. No. Don't ever give up the passion. The passion is extraordinary. You're always going to want to be passionate. But then you get to choose other moments where you dial back.
Right.
And that's kind of this is the juxtaposition of this whole thing. How could somebody who is totally type A, like off the charts type A, also be mindful?
Right.
And I'm going to just tell you, here's the answer is, you can be so much more productive if you just slip in moments of mindfulness.
Right.
And a moment of mindfulness is just taking a minute to smile and stare at somebody.
Well, you're right. Oprah tells me to do that. You're telling me to do that. And just for the record, I'm really a type C personality pretending to be a type A personality. So,
You know what? I'm going to send you something.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you a neck pillow that you put in the microwave for 2 to 3 minutes, and you're going to put it around your neck and for a couple of minutes, and you're going to see your whole body and mind change with just that simple touch.
All right. I love it. And I will report back to everybody here on the No Vacancy podcast how this has worked for me, because, I do need a little bit more Zen in my life, but you know who else needs a little bit Zen in their lives? Hoteliers. And you're bringing this to hotels and partnering with them to get out into that local community. How important is it to be able to draw folks from the local community to the hotel in order to create a successful center for well-being?
Oh, well, it depends. If you're a hotel that wants incremental revenue and, you want a spa that can stand on its own, if you want an amenity spa that just sucks gas from you and you're going to have to support operating losses, then you don't need the local community. You should have your exclusive spa for hotel guests. But if you want to make money and if you want energy, you've got to have a spa brand that can, attract the local community. And the only way you'll attract the local community is if that brand has programs that are relevant, compelling, and, spot on demand, and those are the things that are going to make money and bring in the community.
Right. Makes a lot of sense. As we wrap up, I should say, what final thoughts might you have? And then, of course, give us some shameless plugs so customers can find you, hoteliers can find you, and all of that good stuff.
Nothing. I'm just really excited about where we're going, and I feel like the market has caught up with us, and I'm excited about where the hotel industry is going too. That's shifting and morphing and becoming more interested in, attracting the local community, more interested in programs and experiences like what we offer. I think that there's a real opportunity to take this even a step further. So you'll see some exciting things coming from Exhale soon.
Ooh, that's what I like to know. And that's a super duper, little tease there for us. All right, so if you want to learn more about Exhale, go to exhalespa.com. You can learn everything you need to know about it, what kind of classes they offer, what kind of pricing they have, the locations that they're in, and even get trained as a teacher. Is that right?
Thanks, Glenn.
My pleasure. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening today, and be sure, drop us a line over here. I'm at glenn@rouse.media, ROUSE.media, and I will be back next week with some more great content. That is, unless I decide to dedicate myself to chill classes, which is apparently something I need. Thanks, guys. We'll be back next week.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at Traveling Glenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.